Once again, good morning, guys. Let's start the session, and today's session will cover on assertions. So let me create a file. So assertion. What is an assertion in Python? Generally, assertion is a debugging tool, and it is primarily task is to check the condition. Okay. So assertions. What is an assertion? It is a debugging tool. It is a debugging tool, and its primary task is to check the condition. To check the condition, we use assertion in our script. What happens whenever if it finds that the condition is true, it moves to the next line of the code. If it finds a condition is true, it moves to the next line or next line of the code, or else if not, then it stops all operations and throws an error, and it points out the error in the code. Why do we use assertion? It is to check the condition. If it is gets true, it will get executes. If it is not true, it will stops its all operation and will throw you an exception. An error. So where does these assertions are going to used in Python? So areas. What are the areas where do we use? First one, to check the output of the function. To check the output of the function, and it is used for testing the code. It is used for testing the code and to check the arguments values. To check the values of the arguments, like, or you can say to check whether that is a valid input or not. In these areas, we're gonna check where do we use these assertions. We use to check the output of the function, or to test the code, or to check the values of the arguments are for valid inputs. In brief, what is an assertion? The assertion is a debugging tool and which is used to check the condition. And where do we use these assertions? To check the output of the function, and to check the test of the to check the or to test the code or the script, and the last one, to check the values of the arguments which are passed as the valid inputs. These are the areas where do we use these assertions. So let me give you one simple example to demonstrate these assertions. Let me create a Python file. So for this, let me create one function. To create a function, we use def keyword. I'll go with some anything. Let me write a program which is going to calculate the average of the like, and say mean. We'll take the mean of the function, and let's say value, mean value, or average, avg. Okay, I need now my main objective of this program is to calculate the average of the values in a list. For this, I'll give one use assert. So I'll take the length of that average. If that length is not is equals to 0, then I'll call that, sorry, not is equals to 0, then I'll call that the list is empty. If it is not is equals to the length average is not is equals to 0, then I'll say that the list is empty. That this text has to be printed on the console. If it is not, then I'll return the sum of mm, that average that whole divided by that length of the what scores, that whole score, length of average. That's it, right? If you want to calculate the average, what is the formula? You will sum all the values divided by the number of the values. For that, we'll use the length method, right? That's the general formula, right? To calculate the mean or average. So here, one second, guys. Next, we'll go with, I'll have another variable where it stores the whole list. For this, I'll go with list. In this list, I have 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 9. Okay, this is the list. For this, first I'll print the average of this whole. What is the average? So for this, I'll go with the average is, the average is, to calculate the average. How do I calculate the average? That whole list and this, that list. First, I have to take the mean of that list. So that will be printed. Next, uh, I'll go with the second average. Like I can say, I'll go with this list 2. I'll create one more list. So this list will be empty, so that it will give you the resultant value. So here I'm gonna take a print statement. Here I'll have the average of this one, list 1. That is mean of that list. Okay, let's run this. It says the mean list is mean. Oh, okay. So it okay. For this, I have to take the AVG. Let me modify something. AVG intake. I'll take this course. If it is not empty, then I'll go with sum of that scores. Then here the same thing, scores. So then once it is done, I'll go with the score 2. So it is because of name spacing we are getting the errors, guys. Here I'll take that. So main is the predefined keyboard, so I cannot use that. So I'll go with scores 2. Here this is score 1. This score 1, it is an empty. So we need to call the function, that's avg, and then avg of list score 1. Let me run this. Let's see what kind of error we're gonna get. It says avg is not defined. It means abg. Oh, okay. Now it's fine. It says the print average score 1. Trace back your assert the list is empty. The assertion the list is empty. What it says for the, for this one, what it says, it is saying the list is empty if it is not is equals to 0. If it is equals to 0, same thing. So let's try another time. Assert and then return that sum, which goes. What it says, it throws an error. As I told you, if the condition it gets fails, then it will says assert error. The list is empty. It says this list is empty. So that's the reason it cannot calculate the value. Are we clear, guys? So this is how you can print the statements if the condition gets fails. Any doubts? Anyone? Anyone have any doubts, guys? So here, let's take this in this example. We have passed a non-empty list for this and the empty list score 1 and the average function. This is a average function. We received an output of score 2, but here we got an error, assertion error. The list is empty, right? The assert condition is satisfied by this second one, but the first one here, the score 1, it will gives you an error. However, score 1 does not satisfies the condition and gives an assertion error. Okay, here this is where we use the assertions. So let me give you one more example for this. A simple example. This is a little bit complicated for you. Let me give you one simple example. So I'll take one number. Let's say a is equals to 7, b is equals to 0. Then so whether the value is when it is divisible by 0, is it going to be 0 or not? Let's say a session where we want to check if x is divided by y value, if that is divided by value is what? I should go with assert y is divisible by, if it is not divisible, if it is divisible and if it is not is equals to 0, and if it is not is equals to 0, then if y is not is equals to, if y is y is y b, if b is not is equals to 0, then what needs to get printed? Divided by 0 error. This is the error I should get if it is not is if it is unable to divisible by 0, a divided by b. Okay, let's run this. What it says, b cannot be divisible by 0. Let's say 1. Now it won't get error. See here, a divided b value is 7.0. If it is 7 by 7, that will be 1, right? Right. If it is 0, then it will throws an error. What was that error? What was that assertion? It is divided by 0 error. See, run it. Divided by 0 error, assertion error divided by 0. Are we clear? Raju, Ashwarta, any doubts up to now regarding? Okay, good. So it will throws an runtime exception. So in this example, we have initialized an integer variable A is equals to 7, B is equals to 0, and we have tried to print the value of A divided by B as an output, right? So when the Python interpreter generates a runtime exception because of the assertion keyword, found that the divisor cannot be divisible by divisor as a 0 and then displayed divided by 0 error in the console, right? On the console we got this error, right? So these are the expected errors where the developer will come to know that at particular point of time, at particular point of time, or particular point, or particular block of the code or line of the code, he will encounter this, and so that he can easily crack the solution. For this we will use the assertions. Any doubts, guys, as of now? If not, we'll move to the next topic. Next one is list comprehension. List comprehension. What are the comprehensions? So in Python, these list comprehensions will help you to uh, write the code in a elegant way or simple way. Okay, to write the or reads the almost as well as the plain text. These list comprehensions are very similar to plain text. Okay, list comprehension is one of the Python language's most distinguished feature, which allows us to develop these sophisticated functions uh, with just one line of code. List comprehension is nothing but a one line of code. It's just a list comprehension is nothing but a just a one line of code. On the other hand, many Python writers struggle to fully utilize the more complex aspects of these list comprehensions. Sometimes programmers may overuse them, resulting the much less efficient and difficult to read the code. Because of if you use more list comprehensions in your code, it will makes the code very difficult to understand to the new programmer or the fresh programmer. For this, let me give you one simple uh, example. Before getting into the example, let me go with some simple syntax. For the assertion, we haven't discussed about. Okay, this assertion. Uh, we were discussed assertion, right? Have I given any syntax, right? No, I haven't given any syntax. Let me give you one syntax for the assertion. Assertion syntax. We'll use the assert keyword, then condition, then we'll go with the error message with optional. This is an optional. So you'll have a assert keyword, then the condition, then error message. Okay, right here, see, we have the assert keyword, then expression. If you need, you can have the arguments, or if not, you don't necessary. It is an optional one. Okay, next, syntax of the list comprehension. As I told you, list comprehensions are nothing but which is our one line of code, right? So first I'll go with some any variable name. So anything, variable name can be anything. Then list is nothing but, as you know, it starts and it ends with square braces. Then I'll have expression. Then you will have for item in iterable, any iterable. Then after iterable, you will have condition. For this, you will have condition. If the condition gets true, it will get executed, else not. Yeah, any doubts for anyone? Yeah, okay, Raju has joined. Okay, fine. One second, guys. కొంచెం పోయి పాలు తీసుకురాబోరా తాదాము. ఉంటుంది చూడు, ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది చూడు, ఎక్కడో చోట. పాలు తీసుకురాపో. పాలు బిస్కెట్ ఏదో ఉన్నది తింటావు కదా, అది చూసుకో. ఓకే గైస్, as I told you, list comprehension is just one line of code, and the syntax looks like the variable name and which will equals to, which will starts and ends with the square braces. It will have expression, then for loop. In for loop, you'll have item in iterable, if, then along with the condition. For loop along with the condition. Here loop with condition, expression, loop, condition. See, expression, loop, condition, then the condition. Three parts, guys. Are we clear? There will be three parts in list comprehension. First one, expression, then loop, then condition. Three things. Are we clear? Let me demonstrate this with an example. So, we'll use the for loop to iterate through items list. Okay, I'll take one list. Let's say numbers, the list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the list which I'm using. Then I'll have one empty list so that to store the resultant list. For this, then I'll go with for I in numbers, that list. What is the list name? Numbers colon. Then I'll take each and every value. I'll put it in num list. This is list one. Numbers is the first list. Num is the, sorry, I'll give you directly. Numbers two. Number two is the empty list. Number one, numbers is the main list. Numbers one is the actual list. Numbers two is the output list. The output list is empty. So here I have to read the values from the numbers one list. Okay. After taking the list, I have to append those numbers into this. For this, I'll use the just append method. Numbers 2 dot append what? After I'll take first value, right? What is that value? I square. I'll square it. Then I'll store it in here. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, 6 square is 36. That resultant has to be stored in, resultant list should be stored in numbers too. For this, I'll take the append method. I'm using the append method. Once it is done, I'll print my resultant list. That is numbers 2 list. That's it. If I run this now, it will just print the all the um, all numbers square. See here. See, 1 square, 1, 2 square, 4, 3 square, 3, 3 square, 4, 4 square, 16, 5 square, 25, 6 square, 36. Are we clear? This is in general. How many lines of code it has taken? 3 lines of code. So same example with list comprehension. This is without this example without list comprehension. This is without list comprehension, right? So now I will convert this same example with list comprehension. So as I told you, it should be in a single line, right? This is the syntax. So it will have 3 elements in it: expression, looping, condition, right? For here, what we have here, we have the loop and expression. Okay, not the condition. Okay, so condition is optional one. So let me write the same example. So let me comment this before executing this. So same example, but with list comprehension. Now I'll go with list comprehension. So the 3 lines of code should be converted into single line. Let me show you how we can do that. So there are 2 lists. What is the first list? Let me copy and paste it here. For the second list, we don't need. Okay. So as I told you, we need to reduce the lines of code, right? So here numbers 2 is equals to, this is the variable name. Numbers 2 is the variable name. Now I'll go with open close square braces because we are using the list comprehension. I'll take the first value. What is the first value? From here, let's say I stores the value square root of I square root 2 for I in where numbers 1. It will take this and squares it and now print my numbers 2. That's it. So just I have converted this how many lines of code? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code into 3 lines of code. Let me print it. See, you get the same output. 1 square, it will take the first value from the list and stores in I. So first it has taken 1 square 2, that is 1. Then it will take the looping done here. So it will take first here. First this won't get execute. First this condition will execute, then it will comes to the expression. Sorry, looping. First looping, then expression. First looping, then expression. Looping, expression. Looping, exception. So here first what will happen? The looping will happen first iteration, then it will goes for the expression to get execute. Are we clear, guys? Any doubts about this up to now? Let me give you two or three benefits of using list comprehension. And loops and maps are typically regarded as more as Pythonic than list comprehension. But rather than taking the judgment at face value, it's worth considering the advantage of utilizing a list comprehension in Python over the alternatives. So one of the most important advantage of utilizing a list comprehension in Python is that it is a single tool that can be used in various circumstances. We don't need to adapt to a new strategy for each situation. List comprehension may be leveraged for mapping or filtering the basic list generations or list operations. So list comprehensions are easy to read, and not only these loops, since they are more declarative, which are most easy to understand. See the expression and then looping. Very easy, right? Any doubts? So let me give you one more example to perform string operation. I will perform this string operation on list comprehensions. Okay. Let me take a string which will have expression as I told you. Here string is the variable name, then we will go with the expression, that is alpha is the string. I'll take, sorry, for alpha in, directly I'm taking the string. Here I'll go with session-14. Okay, this is the string. Alpha is nothing but, or you can say just you can take a also, guys. Just I'm name saking I'm taking this. Okay, now I want to print each and every letter. So for this, what I need to print? I need to print that string. That is, sorry. So it will take one element from S, from this. See the same example how I can write in the sense, instead of session 14, I'll go with str. So this str is equals to paste. If you run this, it will see every session underscore 14 has been fetched each and every character from the string, and it got printed. Same thing I want in place of str. I don't want this in 3 lines. I want it in 2 lines. So just delete this. Instead of str, you can take directly that string. Now same thing. So if you want See, are we clear, guys? Any doubts in it? Let me try another thing. Print. Will it's gonna run? It's not, because it is a invalid keyword argument for string, because this will consider as the uh, keyword argument. That's the reason we cannot cumulate the statement more than two lines. Sorry, more than less than two lines. Okay, so minimum we can do in two lines. Alpha is the expression and for is the looping. That's it, simple. Any doubts? Oh, I'll give you with condition. Now we have seen expression with the looping. Now we will go with expression, looping, condition. As I told you, list comprehension consists of expression, looping, then condition, right? We have seen as of now expression along with the iteration. Then we'll see an example which includes both expression, looping, and then condition. For this, I'll take one list. As I told you, variable name is the list. Then I'll go with any number, that is n. N for n in. I'll take range method. So which will I'll take the sorry, range of 30 values are 15. I'll take the range of 15. Then I'll go with if that n is divisible remainder. If the remainder is not is equals to 0, then what should be? So I want to fetch the odd numbers from the list. From this list, whatever the range from 1 to 15, 1 to 15, 1 to 15 in a sense, 1 to 14. Okay. So I want to print all those values. Just print that list. So it will give you all the odd numbers using list comprehension. It will give you the odd numbers from that range. So 1 is an odd number. See, these are all the odd numbers. If it is not is equal to 0. If it is not is equals to 1, it will give you even numbers. See, even numbers. Just this is condition and this is looping iteration and this is an expression. Any doubts? You can use it for nested loops and also. Okay. So you have to practice well, guys.